Third take's a charm. Third take today, third take overall. I have tried recording this video 3 different times, and 3 different times, sorry if you can hear that siren, but I gotta power through because I gotta get this done. I gotta record this video and I have to share it. I have to get it out of my system. The first time I realized my hair was so bad that I needed a haircut. So I went and got a haircut. Second time, just my toddler was toddlering really hard and it was just not the right time to record a video. And so editing it was just so hard because there were so many stops and cuts and incohesive thoughts. And then the thoughts that I had were so scripted, it was gross. Here we are in the middle of the snow in my car. I just left work and we are gonna chat about this. I have had this goal, I've had this vision in my life for a very, very, very long time. And I just haven't acted on it. And I'm not quite sure why. I think it's going to be an ongoing journey to figure out exactly why it's taken me so long to actually make moves on this. We are going to get into it. I'm going to talk about my goal. I'm going to just bring you completely on board. Grab a tea, grab a coffee, grab something warm for me because my jacket was making too much noise. So I had to take it off. And we are gonna just get into this and why this has been such a long goal for me and why I'm finally doing it and why I'm not keeping it to myself anymore. I think so many times we keep big things to ourselves. It's not really cool to be trying, but I'm gonna try, and I'm gonna try in a really public way. So you can follow, cringe, subscribe, share, whatever you want. This is a really, really authentic stab at something that I've wanted to do for a really long time. There's something so grounding and so confidence boosting in that. 100 people could be making fun of me right now, and it's still me doing what makes me happy. So let's get into it. Here it is. My big goal is that in 2026, I become a full-time content creator. We're gonna dive into it. Before I dive too deep into the game plan and obstacles I see in different things, because that's definitely coming up, I wanna start by just stating out, for the record, the difference in my mind between being a content creator and an influencer. If you know me, you know that I previously in my life was an influencer. I may have used the term content creator, but I was an influencer. The big thing that I can see as a difference is that an influencer, the spotlight is on me as a person. It's about my life, it's about my clothes, it's about my adventures. And this, as being a content creator, is about you. It's wisdom and experiences that I'm sharing, but it's through the lens of how does it serve you? So the big question for me to ask right now is, where is the focus in what I'm building here? And the focus truly, truly, truly is on you. I'm really excited to step into that space because it's a really natural space for me to be in. Not only am I kind of an oversharer, especially on social media, I just really love the instant community that can be built from a little moment of vulnerability online, but also being like that big sister figure has always come naturally to me in life. I've seen it play out in my family, in my friend groups, and I've also seen it play out professionally. I used to work as a birth doula. I still view myself in that role as someone who is there with women, for women, and I think this is the natural progression of that. When you combine a background of an influencer or content creator space with just my innate magnetism to filling that role. I do want to talk a little bit about my background as an influencer, but mostly through the lens of why I stopped. The biggest reason that I stopped being an influencer is because I got so burned out. And I think that's because it wasn't really natural for me. Not the online sharing part. You can kind of think about being an influencer and being a content creator as this Venn diagram. There is some overlap. You're sharing a lot, your face is on screen, there are brand deals, that's kind of the in-between space. Influencer space that I was occupying also had a lot of attention on me in a way that I didn't particularly like. And in the content creator space, there's a little bit of a distance from that. And I think that will help with longevity, and that'll also help with consistency, which are some obstacles. We will talk about them in a second that I want to be really aware of. Okay, the snow is really coming down now and it's a little bit icy, so I hope you can't hear it too much on the roof. I'm just gonna try and power through this. The natural next question would be, why do you feel the need to do this? And to be honest, I have just found that my life has really gone sideways lately. In the last 5 years, I have deviated really aggressively from things that bring me joy to things that just pay the bills. Frankly, they're not even really paying the bills that well. I really need something else. I find that I am working really intense hours, a lot of time away from my son, very, very, very little sleep. That would be okay with me if the payoff and the reward was something that granted me the space to have creative freedom or granted me the space to live my life in a way that works for me and my family. The goal of going full time here is that I get that time back. I get to spend time with my son. I get to spend time with my family, and I get to do things on my terms. I do think it's going to be a hard push. I think it's going to be a challenge to do this in a year, but I think a year is enough time to really prove something to yourself and really find out if this avenue is working or if I need to find a new one. So here's the game plan. I'm going to be posting on YouTube a minimum of 2 long form videos every single month. I want to do 1 every week, but I also want to be realistic about what I can actually produce to avoid burnout and to avoid this feeling of, well, I'm already not meeting the bar. I started my year in December, and it was a really great learning opportunity because I had 8 videos planned for Vlogmas, but I got 3 out. I'm really proud of the fact that I got those 3 out, but it was a hard push, and I do want to be cognizant of the fact that 2 to 3 videos a month is probably going to be what I can do right now, long form, while working a full-time job. I've already got some other ideas that I'm tinkering with to see if I can find more time in my schedule to be creating more content. The other places that you're going to see content come out is on Substack in the written form. I have a lot more flexibility with writing because I don't have to be on screen. My toddler can be playing, he can be loud, and that's totally fine. And so I'm excited to also continue pursuing Substack. I've had one for a while now. And then you'll see some short form things pop up here and there on Instagram, TikTok, and Shorts. So we have a couple of different avenues that I'm exploring. I really want to give this first year a hard sandbox mentality. I'm not going to say anything's not working, and I'm not going to say anything is inherently successful until I have a year's worth of data to really look back on and really reflect on. I'm sure I'll be doing check-ins along the way, and I'll also be documenting this entire process and my creator journey here on YouTube, so you'll see some of that behind the scenes as well, because I think that transparency is so important. The things that I want to talk about here is what I'm referring to as the in-between. On Instagram, I have developed a little Instagram called the In-Between Club, and it really is for that moment where you're not who you used to be. You are moving toward your goals, but you're not quite there yet, and you're in this in-between. And the larger piece of the In-Between Club is coming to the realization that I do think sometimes takes entering your 30s to reach, which is that we are all in the In-Between Club at every moment. I spent pretty much all of my 20s thinking that when I got to my 30s, I would just have it. And I'm in my 30s and I'm able to look back on my 20s with so much grace and so much love and support because that girl was working so hard. She was trying so hard. And she did so much. The more that you grow, the more that there is for you to step into. So I continue to be in the in-between space. It's just a new space. You constantly are leveling up. And I think getting comfortable with that space is where we build resiliency, is where we develop. And so there are going to be a couple pillars that we use here that I want to talk through right now so that you have kind of an idea. I already touched on one. There's going to be the behind the scenes, the creator journey. That's going to be a little bit more of like a personal lens on things, probably pretty unpolished. I think this will go in that category. And then there's going to be 2 main pillars, a look back pillar and a look forward pillar. So the look back pillar is saying, what are things that I have learned now when I reflect on my 20s that I would love to share with a past version of myself? You are that past version that I am sharing it with. And I'm planning to take that and have it be very casual, very warm and cozy, and very much anthropologically about me, right? It's very much like a one-person case study. The other pillar that I think is going to be prominent here is going to be a personal growth pillar. This is going to be one that's more for the current, for the now, for what I'm going through, for how I want to make changes, for how I'm looking ahead. That is something that I want to underscore the fact that I am not a therapist or a counselor. There are 2 points I want to make about that because I think really quickly people can discredit you. The first is that we learn through community shares and we learn through listening to people who have been there and who are there. So this chapter of personal growth is going to be largely about me being there and being in it. That being said, it is going to be scientifically backed, and I plan to source anything that I say and cite it. I want you to know that I am also part of the In-Between Club. I am not the leader of this. I am part of this. This is a community. This is a space that you get to be right and you get to be wrong and you get to mess up as much as you want, because when you win and when you get it right, you've learned nothing. When you get it wrong, you learn everything. So get it wrong over and over and over again. And that is going to be the largest message here through these different pillars, through the creator journey of watching me struggle and fail and succeed, through the look back of what have I learned and what can I carry forward, and through the personal growth of how can I make changes today that get me where I want to go. Those 3 pillars are going to be the biggest ones that we see, and then occasional vlog content, because why not? That sounds so fun, and that'll kind of fall a little bit more in the personal category, though not strictly under creator journey, but mostly because I think vlogs are a really fun way to play around with video editing, which is a huge joy of mine. So I definitely think I'm going to be including that as well. All of that sounds great. All of that sounds super fun. I'm stoked on all of it. I hope you can feel that. But there are obstacles. There are real obstacles, which brings me to why I'm recording in my car. The real obstacles are not to pull this card, man, but I'm a mom. And not only am I a mom, but I'm a mom of a toddler who doesn't go to school or daycare, as well as a wife to someone who works opposite hours. So I work in the morning from anywhere from 2 to 3 a.m. to about 10 or 11 a.m. And then my husband starts his work around 2 to 3 p.m. until often like midnight. It does mean that when we're home, we're often both the single parent of a toddler. And it's really hard to do things like talk to a camera when a toddler's right there. He doesn't love that. So I think that's going to be an obstacle, to really find those little windows for myself. I'm finding one right now. I also found out that there's a local group that offers workspaces for moms and on-site daycare. So I'm going to kind of see if financially that's something we can swing, and I think it would be a huge, huge help. Another obstacle is this. This is my POS, which is a POS. It is 10 years old, double digits this year. And it acts like it. Sometimes it works, and sometimes she's not into it. And it is really tough to edit 4K videos on something that apparently has its own agenda. Please help me get monetized so I can replace my computer. I already have it picked out, guys. Oh my gosh, space gray, 16-inch, beauty. Until then, I'm over here. I think it's going to be an obstacle. Maybe the obstacle isn't actually the computer, but more my patience. And then there are other obstacles like brand deals and navigating those. Brand deals aren't my number one concern. That being said, they are a really big revenue stream for anyone on the internet, and they're often the largest piece of the pie. And I am treating this like a business from day one, and I want to create a business that brands want to invest in. It is on my radar. Is it my number one obstacle right now? No, because I think there needs to be a larger volume of content and a larger follower base before I start approaching brands or brands start approaching me. Something that I neglected to mention earlier is that I actually got out of the influencer game in 2022. And so it's been a few years. Things have definitely changed. TikTok was big at the time, but not where it is now. YouTube has only exploded. There's just more and more and more. But again, looking at this like a business, I am so excited to dive into those things and learn more and more and more. And all of that brings me to my very quick conclusion for you, which is please join me. Please join me in this. Please join me in challenging yourself and picking your own thing to look at for a little bit of time, 6 months, 3 months, a week. You know, comment down below what your challenge or your goal for yourself is right now. What are you working toward? I want it to be the kind of thing where I share mine, you share yours, and we come together and support each other. There needs to be more of that in the world. It's been pretty bleak lately, so I definitely want to share more and more and create a space where reciprocal sharing feels right. I really hope that you enjoy watching along. Please subscribe and comment and all those kinds of things if you feel called to do so, if it feels right to you, because it does move the needle for me. It also just lets me know that there's somebody out there. You know, I'm happy to chat into the void, but the goal is to talk to at least one person. So if that's you, let me know. Follow on Instagram as well. There's going to be a little bit more there on the day-to-day basis. But long story short, I think we're there. I think we wrapped this up pretty quick. I hope I can edit this down into like a 10-minute video. I don't want this to be crazy long. I want it to be very quick for you guys. Promise that my next video will not be from the back of a car during a snowstorm. I hope, because it's chilly. I hope my next video is in a cozy, warm environment with a little candle right here. Okay, bye guys.